Alright guys, so a while back, I had done my top 10, 2 videos regarding my top 10 favorite events and least favorite. Well, one was top 10 least favorite events, and it was a Patreon request, and I was like, you know what? I want to do my top 10 best since we slogged through the worst. Well, now it's time to do my top 10 worst. Yeah, we're starting off with the bad stuff first. Marvel events. Now, in my video, I basically talked about how I made this thing about saying, like, whenever Marvel makes an event, there's usually, like, it's either boring or it's monumentally bad. And there's a lot of boring than bad. Unless you count a few, which some of you, if you know this channel, then you already know what probably my number one is, but still. Now, the other thing you have to take into account is that actually there's nothing to take into account. I literally took back what I immediately take back what I said about, oh yeah, there's not a lot of bad Marvel events, just boring Marvel events. No, there's just bad. There's really monumentally bad. Like, stuff that will make you hate reading comics. Now, full disclosure, I'm talking about events on a whole, like that affect the whole Marvel universe. So, Clone Saga, not here. That specifically affected just Spider-Man. Also, there's a lot of bad X-Men events, and technically I did include one, but it was more affecting the Marvel Universe. So that one got brought in here, and you probably know what that one is. If you guys have been on this channel long enough. And honestly, my top 3 can all just be number 1, honestly. But yeah, Clone Saga, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, is Clone Saga going to be in here? No. Clone Saga, I consider more of a Spider-Man story than anything else, so it's not a full-on, like, it affected the whole universe event. It just affected Spider-Man. For worse. Anyway, so, as always with these top 10 lists, I will just go through how I see them. If you think a event should be higher or lower, or not on the or not on the list at all, it's totally fine. I'm always excited to see where you guys stand on these events, and always excited to hear your lists as well. I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us can all agree these are really fucking bad. So, let's get started with number 10. Number 10 is Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron, you're going to see a lot of Bendis events on here, first and foremost. There's going to be a lot of Bendis-centric events on here. Remember when I said there are a lot of boring Marvel events? This is one of them. This is probably the most boring event, and the reason why it's on this list at all is because A, Ultron is my favorite Marvel villain, and B, it did not live up to the hype. What I mean is, Bendis had been building this up for 6 years, I think even more. I think ever since the start of his Avengers run, this was supposed to be his magnum opus. Like, this was supposed to be the alpha and omega of his, like, this was going to be the big one. He did Moon Knight. He did his god-awful Moon Knight story arc that led to the Ultron War, the big coming of Ultron. Like, everything he did, it's like, oh, the Age of Ultron is coming, Ultron War is coming, and then it happened, and literally fuck all happened. Yeah, it's a bad time travel story that only affected his X-Men book, and really, the only positive was Angela became part of the Marvel Universe, and that was it. So, but having said that, I would read this event over the other 9. So, yay, that's a plus. Moving on now to number 9, which is Onslaught. Onslaught is a really bad event. It's one of those, and it's more about, like, what it led to and what it was inspired by. You have to understand that Marvel in this time period was going down the drain, and they were trying anything that could get them there. Comic Pop actually did, like, when they did Onslaught on their channel, they explain it better, but really, Onslaught was the epitome of Marvel's just self-destruction at that point in time. I think a lot of people agree that, like, that led to Heroes Reborn with Avengers and Fantastic Four and the utter nonsense that it was under Liefeld. Yeah. Onslaught is just a bad event. It was haphazardly created. It was just, it was rushed. It was stupid. And what sucks too is that I feel like under the right person, this could have worked. Like, this could have worked. I'm pretty sure, like, if you gave this to the right people, I feel like it would have done better. And I feel like if this was done at Marvel during a better time, I feel like it could have been something, you know? But yeah, Onslaught, we just look back and laugh at it. Really, like, that's how, and just what it led to of Heroes Reborn, and just the stupid decisions left in it. Yeah. I will say, though, that it did bring out the Thunderbolts, which was a really good comic, and it did some cool stuff post, in that time frame with no Fantastic Four and Avengers. But, yeah, thank God they came back. Oh, God. That was just fuck this. Anyway, moving on now to number 8, Secret Invasion. Oh, look, another Bendis event. Oh, boy. It's not like we're going to see a lot of those on here. Secret Invasion could have worked. Like, that's the thing. Like, this is another one of those, had you done this under, like, better circumstances, I feel like, and it did lead to an event I do like called Dark Reign. But this comic is like, and it has a really cool premise too. The Skrulls have infiltrated Earth, and now we don't know who we can trust, whether it be superheroes or government. And Bendis clearly had a story to tell, I'll give him that. But, like, that story really was boring. And also, it really also undermined itself several times over. There's nothing here that makes you go, oh my god, this is going to lead to something, and it's going to be a cool detective story. No, it's none of those. You want to know how it ends? Norman Osborn shoots the Skrull Queen, and that's it. So, yeah, I am hoping, though, that the Marvel TV show, the upcoming Secret Invasion show, does this better, because there is another event that was done better in the MCU that's on this list, because you know it was going to be on this list. It does this better. I hope Secret Invasion is done better in that show than it was in the comic. But yeah. So, moving on to number 7, and that is Axis. Axis, the problem is that there's really good ideas for this. There's really good ideas in theory for these books, but the execution is just bad. And Rick Remender was a really good writer, and man, I don't know if it was like marching orders. I've heard rumors that it was marching orders to do this, like retconning Quicksilver and Wanda being Magneto's kids, and it felt really mean-spirited towards the X-Men books. It also, I think, really destroyed his Uncanny Avengers run, which was really cool. And it was really just like Claw, the evil Hulk, which is totally not mentioned at all in the Donny Cates Hulk run, which I don't think it has been, but yeah. This is just like has all this interesting ideas, but then all it really does is bring out Superior Iron Man, which no one wants. But God bless Mark Waid, he tries his best of making douche Iron Man work. He didn't, but he tried. So Axis, just bad. It's just bad. Now number 6, the event you knew was going to be on this list, Civil War. Again, another event that, like, in theory, could have worked. But the execution was really bad. This is what happens when Mark Millar gets too much power at Marvel. And to its credit, it did pose a lot of cool ideas. It does make you feel like, yeah, both sides. But then, halfway through the book, it just goes, nah, Iron Man's just evil and wrong. So, fuck him. Oh, Captain America all the way. Oh, Captain America got shot. That's it. Like, it had, like, in the beginning, like, and other writers, to its credit, there are other tie-ins in this, and this is one of those, the tie-ins make the book better. Like, you can read the tie-ins and be like, man, I feel like this writer should have done this book, or really doesn't like it. But yeah, Civil War had ideas and thoughts in it that were supposed to be fleshed out, but Joe Quesada was just like, make them fight. You knew this event was going to be on here. You just did. I'm pretty sure some people are like, it's only at 6? Jesus Christ, what are the other 5? Well, glad you asked. At number 5 is The Crossing. For those who don't know what The Crossing is, I don't blame you. It was a Avengers and Iron Man story that had big effects and didn't last long. But it's so monumentally stupid, I couldn't refuse to put it on here and put it on here so high. It actually happened in the late 90s, and again was the epitome of what Marvel was like during that time in the 90s. So The Crossing, for those who don't know, this is kind of a obscure book for good reason. It's revealed that all this time, Iron Man, Tony Stark, was a agent of Kang and a embedded traitor to the Avengers this whole time. And what's going on is that Tony betrays the Avengers, and what happens is the Avengers go back in time, get a younger Iron Man. The Iron Man we know dies, and Kid Iron Man takes over as the new Iron Man. But that gets retconned post Heroes Reborn. Like, people just forgot about it. Like, Marvel was like, this was a really stupid idea. Let's just say he died and then came back because of Heroes Reborn. Like, it fixed it. They were just like, just don't think about it. Yeah. So The Crossing is just a bad executed book. It's really just, if you were an Iron Man fan, I'm pretty sure you'd be pissed off to no end. Also, The Crossing? That's what you're calling your event? I mean, he's double-crossing people, and, you know, I guess. But whatever. Fuck that book. Now we come to the big four, and honestly, I know I said 3, but honestly, these next 4 books are all of them are all books that are just incredibly just get under my skin and just make me angry to no end. Like, these are some of the worst. And any of them could be number 1. Like, it's interchangeable with these 4. So number 4, Secret Empire. Man, did this like Nick Spencer? I have more appreciation for his Spider-Man run now, considering how bad Zeb Wells has shit the bed. But here, Nick Spencer really does some character assassination on Steve, and it feels like they had a story to tell, but then the then editor-in-chief Axel Alonso really messed with the story apparently, and really wanted to tell like and then just made it convoluted, saying that it wasn't Cap, it was a cosmic cube Cap, and the real Captain America shows up, but also we're going to tell a story that's about reflecting current government issues, but not really. You see, Marvel has this thing where they claim they want to talk about like the big issues. And they do. Like, there are writers who will talk about these issues in their own comics. But when they try to do it in an event, it's like Marvel gets cold feet and then just goes, costume people punch each other. The only one I feel like hasn't done that and kind of actually talked about the big issues was Devil's Reign. Yeah, that one didn't get cold feet and be like, nah, costume people punch each other. But yeah. So Secret Empire, oh god, it's bad. At least, no, there's no at least. Following that is Inhumans versus X-Men. I know people don't like X-Men versus Avengers versus X-Men, and looking back on it, it's not a good event. But Inhumans versus X-Men is really it really like looks at you and points. If you're an X-Men fan, fuck you. Like, that's what the comic feels like it's saying, is if you're an X-Men fan, fuck you. This is such a, like, it's one of those events where, same thing with Avengers versus X-Men, and I'll give that an honorable mention, it's tolerable in reading. But here, this Inhumans versus X-Men, like, this was the height of Marvel trying to push the Inhumans and say a fuck you to Fox for owning X-Men. It basically has the Inhumans be the villains, but at the same time they're the heroes, and the X-Men, who are totally justified in going to war with the Inhumans over the Terrigen Nest, are treated as the bad guys. It's treated on a higher level than it was Avengers vs. X-Men, which again, the X-Men were right and were justified in what they were doing, but they were viewed as the bad guys. But here it's even more egregious. There's some major character assassination on Emma, as well as Magneto, they were doing stuff with, and yeah. Thank God fuck the Inhumans. Like, really, Death of the Inhumans gave me so much joy you don't even know. And also, I'm really happy that Kamala Khan is going to be retconned to be a mutant, if she hasn't already. um, yeah. So next up at number 2, Ultimatum. Ultimatum, what can I really say about Ultimatum that hasn't already been said before? It is what killed the Ultimate Universe. It is some serious edgelord, over-violent nonsense that even the David Finch art looks bad. And there are some deaths in there that are like, okay, what are... Is Jeff... And also, the fact that this comes from Jeff Loeb, the guy who did the Batman The Long Halloween and some other great Marvel and DC comics, boggles my mind. I guess Tim Sale slapped the crazy out of him every time he came up with a new idea. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have okay, listen, Tim, I'm gonna have Catwoman eat Robin, like a cat eating a bird. Slap. Enough, Jeff. Okay. But what if... No, Jeff. Okay. I feel like that's how it went. Anyway, Ultimatum just sucked. I will give credit, though, that Jonathan Hickman did do some serious damage control. And we did also get... Well, it took a little while longer after that, but yeah, we did get Miles eventually. And, well, not out of Ultimatum, I know that. I know Ultimatum didn't bring to Miles Morales, but it was the stepping stone to that. Plus, again, Jonathan Hickman did some serious damage control after that, but it was too little too late. So let's see if Hickman can bring back the Ultimate Universe in the upcoming event and see how well that goes. Anyway, number 1, you guys probably know by now what it is. It's Civil War 2. Hey, look at that. Another Bendis event. This comic was unnecessary. It was only there to have Civil War, because Captain America Civil War was coming out, and rather than, do a deluxe or a reprint or something of that degree, Marvel's just like, do another Civil War, but have Carol and Iron Man fight over an Inhuman who is really a Watcher, and also some of his visions don't happen. This thing character assassinates Carol so hard, it's scarred her character. I don't know what else to say. It permanently scarred her as a character. Iron Man, it does some fuckery with Iron Man. The main character that they're all fighting over is pathetic and useless. And the reasons why they're fighting is completely dumb. And also the whole Hulk death thing was stupid as all hell. It's like, why... yeah, the whole thing when Iron Man's talking about justifyingly having Hawkeye kill the Hulk is like a moment where... no, when Carol had Hawkeye kill Hulk. And it led to an era of the all-new, all-different universe, which did have some cool moments, but on a whole was just kind of middling and Anyway, Civil War 2's just fuck that book. Just fuck that book. That's all I can say. So there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 worst events. That's for me personally. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what are your top 10 worst events? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.